Hello and welcome to Backstage, bringing you all the latest from the world of TV and film. Joining me this week, it's Sky's Arts and Entertainment editor Claire Gregory.
Hello.
And coming all the way from Dublin, we've got TV and film reviewer Thomas Crosse. Coming up on this week's show.
After everything you've seen out there in the world, what are the Hunger Games for?
I put real people into a James Bond adventure and placed 10 questions around the world. If they find them, answer them, they win £1 million.
And I joined Take That. I was 16. It was insane. I was having a nervous mental breakdown in front of thousands of people.
Look, before we get into all of that, though, we have to talk the end of the actors' strikes. It's been a momentous week, hasn't it, within the entertainment world? Claire Gregory, you have covered this a lot.
I feel like so many weeks we've said, we'll keep you posted, we'll keep you posted. And now we can keep you posted. It's finally come to an end. The union has, SAG-AFTRA has agreed a deal with the studios. It's said to be worth about $1 billion, which is not cheap. And they seem to have got pretty much everything they wanted.
Done really well. I think it's the highest minimum wage increase that they've had in about 40 years. It's also, they've got a deal on AI for better protection and sort of agreements to consent. And they've also got residuals from the streamers, which they've never had before, Thomas, have they?
No, this is great news. This really is. You know, streaming is such a new thing for everyone, isn't it? You know, over the past 10 years. And it's just so good to see it back. Like, it really is. I think everybody has struggled. And I don't think, you know, the public are going to know how bad it's been until next year when they realise that some of the best shows that they love won't be back when they should be back because of this. So it's great news today. Absolutely brilliant.
We're going to be feeling the after effects of this for some time to come, aren't we? Because it is affecting when all these release dates are happening. But it's been hugely disruptive for the people in this country as well, who just haven't been able to work or pay their bills or anything.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands kind of involved in this ecosystem, if you like. Yes, it's the actors who are on strike, but if your production had a striking actor on it, that's shut down. So if you're on the cast and crew at all, then, you know, you're out of work. If you're perhaps doing the makeup or the styling, you're out of work. If you were doing the catering, so the kind of the tail, the reach is very, very long. So there is a kind of business element to this as well. It's good to get the industry back up and running.
Shall we then crack on with this week's reviews? Coming to cinemas on the 17th of November, it's one that people have been waiting for, The Hunger Games, the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes.
The Hunger Games are to punish the districts. Those tributes don't have a choice.
Your role is to turn these children into spectacles, not survivors.
You want to protect people, and it's essential to accept what human beings are.
This, of course, is the prequel of the franchise made famous by Jennifer Lawrence. It's one that have got everyone very excited, isn't it, Claire Gregory? You in particular, you were a big fan of the original franchise.
I was a big fan of the original franchise, particularly the films directed by Francis Lawrence, who has gone on to direct now this prequel as well. Because it's a prequel, you haven't got Katniss and you haven't got Jennifer Lawrence. It's about kind of really the villain of the Hunger Games and his origin story. How did Coriolanus Snow come to be the evil chap that we know him to be? This is about him when he was much, much younger. It's all based around the 10th Hunger Games, when he's just a teenager and is kind of becoming the man that will become to sort of know and hate to love. It also stars Rachel Zegler, who was Oscar nominated not long ago. Coriolanus Snow is played by newcomer Tom Blyth, and then it's also got Viola Davis and Hunter Schafer in. It's a really great, interesting cast, and I think it's just really nice to see this franchise back when we thought, when it was done, that it was done, and then Suzanne Collins, the author, went on to write another book and gave us this new bit of Hunger Games world.
Thomas, did we need this, though? Did we need a prequel?
Do you know what? I think if you're a fan of the Hunger Games, you're going to love this. You know, do you want a sequel? No, you're grand. We have loads of stories beforehand. Let's just do a prequel. I know back home in my house, my other half cannot wait to see this and has started watching over the last couple of weekends, binging all the Hunger Games, so he's right up to date. So I'm watching it through his eyes, and I can say that a lot of people can't wait to see this. And Rachel Zegler as well, she's brilliant.
West Side Story, for those that don't remember. Claire, you were lucky enough to catch up with the director as well.
Yeah, and we talked about the fact that, you know, the Hunger Games does have a comedy element despite the fact it's some very serious themes. And he talked about kind of treading that line between comedy and drama.
Humor and levity is something that I've been working on over my career, and I think there's been certain movies that I've done that have lacked enough levity. And so, and especially when you're telling a story that can be as brutal and as sort of tough as this and as dark as this can get, you definitely need some levity.
The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is out in cinemas on November the 17th. Moving on to some of the TV that you can get this week. Coming to Netflix, it's a documentary all about Robbie Williams.
Being in the spotlight, you can't trust anybody.
Robbie Williams is a joke.
I was having a nervous mental breakdown in front of thousands of people.
So this is coinciding with Robbie Williams and the anniversary of him going solo. And boy, does it give you an insight into his life. He, unlike some of the other celebrity documentaries that we've been bombarded with celebrity documentaries, haven't we? The Wagatha one, the David Beckham one. The difference with this is Team Robbie Williams were constantly filming for the last 3 decades. And there's so much home video, isn't there, in this?
Yeah, it's brilliant access. It's almost like they kind of just had a camera and would just sort of leave it running while they were in the room chatting.
Phone calls they had, things like that.
So it really does give a kind of intimate portrayal of what was going on all that time. And of course, it's accompanied by a modern day interview with Robbie in bed, in his pants.
In his pants. Now, Thomas, did we need Robbie Williams in his pants for this?
Do you know what? I don't think so. I think the adoring fans who love him are going to know this side of him, know everything about it. I kind of felt a few times it took away from the seriousness of some of the crazy stories this man had. There were times where I felt awkward because he was telling what, he was drinking loads of drugs. He's just ruined his career. Did he ruin his career? And then all of a sudden you're back on his bed and he's wearing a black pair of pants and a vest. And I'm kind of going, okay, now I'm awkward. This is weird. This is strange. But it's Robbie Williams, I feel like Louis Walsh here. It's Robbie Williams, you expect all this from Robbie.
It's very odd, though, isn't it? Again, like the David Beckham one, they're these hugely privileged characters. And it does, I spent an element of watching this thinking, do you want us to feel sorry for you? You've clearly behaved very badly. Yes, you had addictions. Yes, the fame was intense and at times awful. But you're selling this to us from your Beverly Hills mansion, aren't you? It's frustrating at times.
It is a slight disconnect. But I think coming so soon after the Beckham documentary, which was also on Netflix, he's a celebrity from a sort of similar time. And you can't kind of avoid those comparisons. And it does feel a bit like, we don't have that much sympathy for you, sorry.
And the 4-part series, Robbie Williams, is available now on Netflix. Very quickly, let's talk about a new reality show over to Prime Video. And there's a new Bond-themed show, 007 Road to $1 Million.
For £25,000. Climate.
I can't believe this.
Jumped out of a chopper somewhere in the Swiss Alps. I've never even been to Milton Keynes ski rink.
Oh, hello.
That ain't TK Maxx, is it?
This is impossible.
Why don't you go down there?
Are you sick?
It's a weird concept,
It's
isn't
a
it?
strange thing, 007 Bond, it's a massive IP and they've decided to lend it for the first time to another show, not one of the films. And it's this kind of strange quiz show. They travel the world, pairs of people trying to answer quizzes. They go to Bond locations. It's got gorgeous Bond music. But it's kind of weird. It's not Bond, but it is kind of compelling.
It's an odd one, isn't it, Thomas?
If you want to see normal people with normal bodies try to do crazy things that fit people do, this is the show you need to watch because it will make you laugh.
But sadly, it's lacking the drama of fights in the street that you'd get in 007. So it's just slightly flat at the end, but it does look beautiful and you do kind of laugh at the very well cast.
I think you need to see it just so that you can see it, to know what we're on about.
Absolutely. And 007 Road to $1 Million is available now on Prime Video. That's it from us for this week. Look, if you liked what you've watched here, don't forget to download the Backstage podcast. All you need to do is scan the QR code, which is on your screens now, or look for our podcast, however it is that you normally find your podcast. And we will be back very soon. Thank you to Claire.
Thank you.
Thank you to Thomas. And we'll be back again very soon.